Last night we brought you the story of the Labour MP spouting anti-Semitic hate. Well, it's happened again tonight. Graham Jones has become the second Labour parliamentary candidate to be suspended over comments made about Israel in a private meeting of Labour activists in Lancashire. Jones follows Azir Ali, who Labour withdrew their support for over questionable comments too. The suspension is damaging for leader Keir Starmer, who's running on a platform of ridding his party of anti-Semitism. Oh, really? Well, joining me now in the studio is the Henry Jackson Society's Director of Communications, Megan Gittos. Megan, welcome back to the show. Nice to see you again. Hard to believe this. I mean, my first sort of thought and my first question really is how many more of these people are there? Because Keir Starmer claims to have changed the party, but he clearly hasn't.
I think there is a culture in Labour where people were saying during the Corbyn years that they felt scared to speak out.
Yeah.
A lot of these comments and videos, they're coming from grassroots Labour associations. So I think there will be a lot more.
There will.
People will feel bravened now that a few have come out, that they can share that clip that they had on their phone that they didn't really know what to do with. And they should feel like ready to do that, because actually this is like, we always say the fish rots from the head, but I think it rots from the bottom. If for what it's worth, I do think Keir Starmer's done an admirable job, lost a lot of friends, has risked losing votes from his own party.
Yeah.
It's not enough.
No.
It's not enough.
And also, you can't really rid someone of anti-Semitism if they're anti-Semitic, I'm afraid. You know, you either are or you're not. You know, the idea that Azir Ali kind of said at the beginning, oh, yes, it was a terrible mistake. I got something completely wrong. I was misled by a conspiracy theory that I now know not to be true. And you know in your absolute heart of hearts that this is a guy who believes all that stuff.
He believes it, and there's absolutely no way being told to put out a press release stopped him believing it.
Right.
And this is part of the problem. Did Labour see that it was close to the by-election and think it's bad what he said, but we're too close to pull him out, in which case that's abhorrent? Or did they genuinely believe he'd changed? And if that's the case, then they have absolutely no idea what anti-Semitism in modern Britain looks like. It looks like the recycling of these old Hitler Germany conspiracy
like the sort of tropes,
theories.
the cartoons,
They believe
all
them.
of that stuff.
They believe them, and that's the problem when he'll go out on TV and he'll say racism in any form is wrong. But they don't think they're being racist.
No.
They think they are genuinely talking about the history.
Well, it's like
of
when
Israel.
you see people interviewed, when Piers Morgan was interviewing a lot of the people who were on the side of Palestinian freedom and sometimes borderline on the side of Hamas. You know, they believe it's all Israel's fault. They believe that, you know, Hamas is a freedom-fighting organisation, and I'm afraid that in some portions of the Labour Party sort of backwards, that's what they believe. Let's have a look at what Keir Starmer actually said. This is before the latest Graham Jones revelation, but this is what he said about Azir Ali.
Certain information came to light over the weekend in relation to the candidate. There was a fulsome apology. Further information came to light yesterday calling for decisive action. So I took decisive action. It is a huge thing to withdraw support for a Labour candidate during the course of a by-election. It's a tough decision, a necessary decision. But when I say the Labour Party has changed under my leadership, I mean it.
Yeah, and so now I'm afraid the former Labour MP for Hyndburn, Graham Jones, who is seeking re-election to that constituency, has been caught on audio basically saying F Israel. And he's saying British Jews fighting for Israel should be locked up. That's basically his line. And so for Keir Starmer to say that he took decisive action is, one, untrue, because the inference from what he's saying there is that what they found out about Azir Ali over the weekend wasn't bad enough to suspend him, effectively.
Yeah, it's not decisive action, I'm afraid. A little bit of context. Greater Manchester Police, after October 7th, said that anti-Semitic... they disclosed that anti-Semitic, not attacks, but incidents, they went up by 5 times the amount from exactly the same period last year. And Rochdale was going to be a contentious one for them. Honestly, the cynic in me thinks that it just wasn't bad enough, what was said. And I have no basis for that other than it fits a pattern.
Well, I think you'd have to conclude, would you not, that knowing what we know about Rochdale, that it has a very large Muslim population, George Galloway's gone there for a reason. You know, he knows basically that he can attract a vote.
He knows how to capitalise on it.
Yeah, of course. And I think they realised that, you know, if they pulled this guy, that would be the end of Labour in Rochdale. And I wonder,
Yeah.
I mean, there's some people who say he might still win the election. I'm not sure if that's true. But if he doesn't win the election and George Galloway does, you wonder whether that's Rochdale lost to Labour for some time.
I think it would be Rochdale lost to Labour for some time. And, you know, we all did a collective gasp when we heard about the comments at the meeting with Jones. But these are widespread held views. The idea that people are saying, it might seem shocking to some, the idea that people are saying people should go to prison for going out to fight for the IDF.
Yeah.
Not knowing that that is a law that any recognised legitimate military, if you're a dual national, you can do.
Right.
People were comparing it online to ISIS.
Yeah, they're comparing it to Shamima Begum. They're comparing it to sort of death cults.
I think the problem is Labour is quite cosmopolitan, very North London elite, and I don't think they truly understand anti-Semitism in this country.